News 3 Now, live at 4.
Here's a live look at San Francisco, California. The weather there is 59 and mostly cloudy with a chance of rain later this afternoon. And get this weekend a man launched the first Waymo DDoS attack by ordering 50 of the robo-taxis there, and then he sent them to a dead-end street. The cost for this prank, about $250. So maybe not. Well, different guidance from state and federal officials about this year's COVID booster is creating some confusion about who should get the shot and when.
And Walmart, you may have heard, is taking steps to eliminate artificial food dyes in its private food brand. UW Health Chief Quality Officer Dr. Jeff Potoff is here for his weekly visit. Hi, Dr.
Hey guys,
Potoff.
hello. Welcome.
Good to see you.
Yes, same.
So the latest guidance about this year's COVID booster is that if you're under 65, you should talk to a doctor or a healthcare provider, but you don't need a prescription. And that's causing a little bit of confusion about who's eligible for the shot.
I think there is some confusion. I think the take-home message will be getting a COVID vaccine this year will, to the person getting it, seem very similar to how it was last year. So you don't necessarily need to talk to a doctor or a pharmacist, but when you go to get your COVID shot, they're going to hand you information like they did last year, and it's going to list the pros, cons, side effects, things like that. If you have a question, there needs to be somewhere that can answer that question who is a healthcare provider, defined somewhat loosely. So that could be a doctor, that could be a pharmacist, could be a medical assistant, a nurse, so that you can have that discussion with that healthcare provider before you get that vaccine. But for a lot of people, that'll feel a lot like it was last year, where you probably aren't going to have a lot of questions after you've read that sheet, and then the pharmacy will administer the vaccine.
Yeah, and on top of the prescription thing, I think people are also still confused about insurance and how do they find out if they'll have to pay or if insurance can?
I think that's a great question. So you won't need a prescription, so a doctor will not have to send a prescription for you to get your shot. Most insurance companies, in fact, I'm not aware of one that's not covering the COVID vaccine. I think as insurance companies looked at it, they'd rather cover the vaccine than pay for you to be in the hospital. So we haven't seen very many instances where insurance companies are waffling about covering the vaccine.
Can you get the COVID booster and the flu shot at the same time?
Yeah, you certainly can. Typically, you'd get that in different arms, you know, if you get sore arms, you'd have 2 sore arms. But as far as like effectiveness of the vaccine, no problem in getting both at once.
And you got it. How did you feel?
I did. I actually did fine with this one. I feel like it's kind of like you roll the dice, and sometimes you're like, that's not so bad, and other times the next day you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to sit in bed and eat soup.
So you were running a marathon then when you were where are we at locally? What is the status of any type of COVID surge?
We're doing okay right now. So a couple of weeks ago, we thought maybe we were going to see this uptick. We might have talked about it here, and then it kind of calmed back down. So like right now, I feel like we're kind of in the quiet before the storm. COVID's not so bad. We're not seeing influenza really yet. No RSV. Talk back in 4 or 5 weeks and it might be a little bit different story. So like now would be a good time to go and get vaccinated because you got time to build the immunity, but we're not seeing a lot of stuff right now.
Okay, hope that clears up some of the confusion. Let's talk about this decision by Walmart to take out they're taking 30 ingredients, artificial ingredients out of their brands. That seems like good news for consumers.
I think so. I mean, we're kind of catching up to Europe in this, where there's research that looks at these artificial dyes, and it's not conclusive. You couldn't say 100% that these dyes cause ADHD or cancer, but there maybe is an association there. And the reason why it's maybe safe to pull them out is there really no health benefit to this. Like there's nothing good that happens to your eye because we consume these dyes. They just look better and we maybe want to buy products. So taking these dyes out, using either natural colors or no artificial coloring is probably the right way to go. I think for a lot of us though, it'll be a bit of a shock because those things that we're used to seeing that are like super bright yet or very orange, ain't gonna look quite the same. They will taste the same, but your mind's going to play tricks on you because they're not going to look the same.
Something to get used to.
Something to get used to.
Eat with your eyes.
Thank you, Dr. Potoff.
Thanks, Dr. Potoff.